And we are live. Welcome back to the Counter-Strike Casuals podcast. A Counter-Strike Casual podcast for casuals by casuals. I feel like we don't ever say the tagline enough anyway. Welcome.
I didn't even know we had a tagline.
I think we do. It's on our YouTubes and the like and all other popular social media channels. Episode 22.
Oh, wait. I've got a little head again.
Oh. If we were as advanced as other Counter-Strike related podcasts, we could use AI to wipe that out, but we're not, so that's staying.
Yeah, it's got to stay. How is the no beer going for you, mate? Or no alcohol going?
Well, I'm 30 days in. I'm drinking water out of a beer glass.
Legend.
Lovely. How exciting.
And I'm just here drinking beer, like making it even harder for you.
I do feel a lot better, definitely. I think it's something that's like I've always wanted to do. We'll see how long it lasts. I'm seeing you at the weekend, so it might not last as long as I'd hope, but 30 days, so it's been a good run.
Nice.
Moving on. Right, let's get straight into this because since we're a day late, we've got a lot to catch up on, and since our last podcast, there's become a mini flurry of Rostermania mental news, which I must admit is like completely out of the blue and not on the agenda or on the rumour mill from where we were sat anyway. And even when it was happening, I was like messaging you, we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's crazy, and it's kind of unexpected, but if you think about it, with CS2 around the corner, I guess some teams want to make some changes before that, but on the other hand, a lot of people were saying, oh, you'd keep the roster and see how you get on in CS2, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's finding the balance at the moment, right? But now is a good time, especially as CS2 is getting worked out. The biggest one is zonic. Zonic is going to leave Vitality and join Falcons because, of course, why wouldn't he join Falcons? Why would he leave the number one ranked team in the world, the team that he helped get to that position by bringing in his fellow Danesman and won the last ever CSGO major? Why on earth would he give all that up and join Falcons?
It's like a lot of sportsmen, though. I guess you're at the end of your career, so you're just gonna be like, right, let's make some money.
Sonic's at the end of his career, you think, as a coach?
Well, how old is he?
37.
Yeah, I do.
How old do CS coaches go on for? I don't know.
It depends. I feel like CS coaches are different to normal coaches. They kind of got to get on with their team a little bit, but also have that mature, respected kind of side to them as well. But once you're in your 40s, I think these young 20-year-olds kind of lose respect for you. They're a little bit like, you're just an old man. This is it's a game at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's a computer game. So they might kind of lose respect. I don't know. I guess there's not many coaches over 40, no?
I think that's a topic for another day that we've now set ourselves some homework to work that out, actually. But let's park that he might be going out of his prime, although the last ever major and getting Vitality to number one might suggest that he still knows what he's doing. He started his article or his interview on HLTV, and he said the first sentence is, "It was not the money that drove me to this. It was the role, the responsibility, and the freedom I got in the role to create something that I really believe in." What would you actually believe in? What's your role? If you're a Counter-Strike coach, what do you want to do?
If the rumours are right, these guys are going to be throwing money about. And I've also heard that he might be taking Magis with him. Or Magis, they're trying to sign Magis anyway.
Okay.
I think Vitality would let Magis go. I've heard Diz Brly, but I've heard that these guys want to throw some money about. Have you heard other rumours?
Before we get onto the rumours, I just want to also continue on because I think it's quite important, because what I find, you know me, I can be a bit straight talking, and especially actually around like business and money, I think as well. And he goes on to say, because they obviously asked him about Saudi Arabia, because Falcons are Saudi Arabian owned or they're backed or whatever it is. I don't know the ins and outs. But they go on to question about the human rights stuff in Saudi Arabia. And basically, Zonic seems to think that he is going to be able to bring some positive light onto any human rights that Saudi Arabia have, going on. And he's like, I think there's a positive change going on in Saudi Arabia. And he's like, with the number of gamers that in the region, being able to contribute to the positive change by bringing, let's say, a major trophy to Saudi Arabia is something that also drives me. So he's basically saying if we go there and play like loads of really good Counter-Strike, it might bring to light some which, okay, I'm just going to call it now. This might not be Brly's opinion, by the way. It's just all a load of bollocks, like absolute bollocks. Like, you'd be in such a better position just saying, I've gone for fuckloads of money and because Vitality offered me less. If Falcons or the Saudi Arabian Prince of Saudi Arabia said, we want to buy the Counter-Strike Casuals podcast, you and me would have a discussion, whatever. And then if we did it and we'd come to announce it, we'd just be honest, I think, and just be like, guys, this was a hobby and we got offered fuckloads of money by the Saudis and now we're loving it. We're not going to we're not going to be like, well, guys, what we thought was really important was to grow the scene in Saudi Arabia and also just try and bring a bit of light onto the people that are being, hard done by in Saudi Arabia. I'll be here with a Rolex, just going like that. I don't know what time it is, but it's Saudi time.
Because, you would just say that, but maybe I think it's definitely that, but maybe there's other things as well. Like, I do think that they could have given him a lot of freedom, and let's be honest, if I had a shitload of money and I was after a CS coach, I would say, Zonic, set up a team.
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah, agree.
Here's a fuckload of money, do whatever you want. And of course, that's going to be desirable, like the fact that he can pick his own team. We've got loads of money. We'll sign whoever you want. So prepare to see Zyru, Simple, Nico, and all the other top
which
guys.
If they create a Man City of the Counter-Strike world, then it's just going to be mental to watch them play, and you'd be watching them with interest and also a massive amount of expectation. But I just think it's...
Where did it play out of? Where?
It's their European base. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know enough about them, so all these opinions I've got are highly based on reading the HLTV interviews and just looking outside in, but I just think it's funny because I think just be honest about these things. It's like, did it for the money. Done. You go, fair enough. Fuck it, right, you did. You're 37. You might be at the end of your thing. You've probably got a family and kids, which I think he does. Fair play. Get the bag. Move on. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the main story and the most surprising.
You did open this with, this is like the biggest story, but I think it's joint top, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it probably is. Well, I think in any other week, the next piece of Rostermania chat would probably be top, but this is, or tops everything, but this is, maybe joint.
This for me is crazy because...
Well, I put the Zonic one at top personally because the heroic noise or we've been talking about on the podcast, Heroic needs to change. So I think a change at Heroic was less surprising than at Vitality. So that's why.
I mean, if you're talking about surprise, I think they're both equal. At the end of the day, Heroic needed to change something up, but he's an actual player, whereas Zonic isn't an actual player.
What is the news, Brly? We're teasing people.
cadiaN is leaving Heroic.
Yeah.
Or he's been benched, should I say.
Due to differing visions for the future.
Yeah.
Which I wonder what that means. He said, I think the roster changes would have made us more competitive in the big tournaments and the big stages, and Heroic saw it done in a different way.
Yeah, so it sounded like cadiaN wanted to do some roster changes, and
Tessa's out.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you, and I don't know what the organisation disagreed with, because or unless they did agree with him and were like, yeah, we agree with you, cadiaN, see you later.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
P.S. It's not about money. Oh no, that's.
Yeah, so that's this for me is big news because now it's like, who's gonna warp? Is Stown gonna warp? What's Stown gonna look like on the AWP? Like that could be interesting. Who's gonna be in-game leader? Would Glaive go to Heroic? Would cadiaN go to Astralis?
I don't
Will
think he would.
cadiaN come off the AWP? I know he mentioned in the article that he would be willing to trade either role if he felt like it was needed off his new team.
I don't think he should come off the AWP personally. I think he's too impactful.
But can a top team be winning top tier major trophies with him as their AWPer?
Yes, I believe so, 100%. I think he's such a good player and he's so underrated as an IGL and AWPer, an impact player, because people just don't like him. And also, I think it is fucking rip for Heroic unless they can fill those boots. Like, they are now like a 15 to 20th place team in the league, in the rankings in the world. If they can't replace him with a like for like, they've fucked it.
I think a lot of this depends on Stown. I can't see any of those boys being in-game leader. If Stown is open and he's good at open, then they could be a top team. I honestly believe that if they get a good in-game leader in. So they're going to need either a really good in-game leader or a really good AWPer.
Okay.
I don't think they need someone to do both. But yeah, is this the end? Is this the end for Heroic? Are they gonna bench anyone else, or is that it? Just cadiaN?
If they cannot replace cadiaN, like I said, for like quality in terms of skill and impact and leadership in and out of the server, they are fucked. If they need
was their heart and soul, wasn't
they
he?
need to make more changes and probably yeah. If you can get Glaive in, Glaive would be a sensible one if they want to keep it all Danish. Then you lose someone like Tessus and bring someone else up. Then it starts to look different. But of all the changes, that's the last one you would make if I was like the manager of Heroic, unless there was some kind of toxicity in internally. Maybe we don't see or know, which could be where he could be almost like a simple level of bullying or like not bullying, whatever. You know, when people used to like talk down to him, I think you could just see them playing with a bit of almost fear and like, fucking hell, I'm gonna get done in again by simple.
I don't think that's cadiaN.
I don't think so either.
As much as like he has a negative view on most people, me and you both like him, but I don't think he's like that. He seems to be really good for the whole team, but you know, behind closed doors, who knows? But he does seem like a bit of a big brother to them all. So it is a massive mix-up for Heroic. I don't know where they go from here.
No,
I'll have to give it some more thought, but yeah, it'd be interesting anyway.
Well, I think let's see what happens, but as it stands, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes they're going to make in the recent times.
Really? So you think it's a big mistake?
Yeah, it's fucking massive, and I'd snap cadiaN up in a heartbeat. If I was any top 10 team, I'd have him.
If you were an organisation, like who would take him and what role would you put him in?
Well, okay, let's move very nicely on to another team that have made changes where they seem to be in a bit of limbo about who an IGL spot, which is Liquid. Liquid bench Rainwaker. They've brought Daps in, their coach, to IGL in CS2 is the plan. Yakinda to go back to being a sick player, which is probably the right move. And then Daps IGLing. That's it. And they're now a European core, so they're based in Europe. I don't know exactly where they are, but that looks like a nice fit. Liquid have got money; they could afford cadiaN. That could work. That would be that team would be actually pretty exciting. Then, if you imagine you had NAF, the OC, I guess that would be your thing where you're not hot on OC, right? But you OC, Yakinda, and Patsy, and then cadiaN. So whether or not you'd kick OC off eventually, but bring cadiaN in, I don't know how it'd work. But
I would get Rainmaker back in, to be honest, and get rid of OC. Not because I really dislike OC. I just think he seems very, very quiet, and as an AWPer, I think you can't be super quiet, and I also don't think he's consistent enough on the AWP. I think they need a better AWPer, and after watching this previous tournament, that they definitely need to mix up. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into that.
Well, let's get onto that because
later.
1 second, you could be right there in what you were saying as well, because Rainmaker only had like 3 months at Liquid and less than 40 maps, so it wasn't a big chance to prove his worth. So that could be a sick move if you removed OC and brought cadiaN in, and then got cadiaN IGLing.
Get your Kinder off in-game leading.
Get him back to just being brilliant at fragging. You got Naf to do all the cleaning up, and then you've got Patsy and your Kinder to be the aggressive riflers, and cadiaN.
I think with cadiaN as well. Sorry to just kind of interrupt and backtrack a little bit. cadiaN's a little bit. He's so good at bringing the boys together and hyping everyone up. I don't know if he could do that with an international roster. Most countries and cultures have different vibes and different, motivations. He was really good at that because they were all Danish. They're all on the same wavelength type of thing. When you're international, I think it's harder to hype everyone up. Everyone has different motivations and different what's the word, like expressive outlets, and they get different motivation from different places. So I don't know whether cadiaN's going to have that same effect in an international roster, but if I was Liquid, I would definitely try it, because I don't think OC's good enough for Liquid. They've got 2 sick riflers in Naf and Yakinda. I don't think Yakinda should be calling, but he definitely should be a second caller like they've suggested. Daps isn't good enough at all. Yep. I don't think they should be. He should be there.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how that pans out. I mean, so we got to saw that roster of Daps. Actually, Daps didn't IGL though. That's the point to make. He's meant to be IGLing for CS2, so Yakinda still IGL'd in the recent Blast qualifiers.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I was away for much of this, so I've not actually watched many Counter-Strike for the Blast stuff. Also, strangely, because it was CSGO, I was just a bit like ready to move on with my life, and because this is the last bit of CSGO you'd watch, I wasn't, again, sentimental about it, like, I need to watch the last bit of CSGO. I just wanted it to be over so we could move on to CS2. But you watched this, right? It's the American qualification side, which I thought Liquid were European now, but maybe it's because they'd changed to European, or I don't know, because
they're still they're an international roster, yeah, but they're an American organization.
Oh,
I think we spoke about this on the podcast last week. By the by, it doesn't matter. They're in the Americas anyway.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about the Americas first. I didn't watch loads of it, I'll be completely honest. I've been way too busy, but I did watch the final. So I wasn't super excited about the Americas because, let's face it, there's not anyone super exciting there at the minute. Apart from the winners, Complexity. So Liquid and Complexity were probably the 2 favourites to get through. Liquid beat Foreskin and Party Astronauts.
Foreskin.
Yeah. Forsaken, whatever you want to call them. So they beat them, and they were 2-1 both those results. Party Astronauts and Forsaken, yeah, well done, Liquid. And then they got to Complexity in the final and got bullied. Like, literally got bullied. The only thing the only word I could use to describe that game was bullied. Like, literally, Anubis was 16-4 to Complexity. Second map on Inferno was 16-2.
Oh my god.
Liquid looked
2 rounds
a shambles, and Complexity looked
on Inferno as well. Inferno, most teams would have a default playbook to probably get you like 6 rounds, even when you get trounced on a map like Inferno. 2 rounds.
Yeah, it was an absolute shambles. Yakinda looked a little bit deflated, as you would be. But yeah, I just think, I don't even know what to think. They just got absolutely bullied. So Liquid needs to change it up like 100%. Daps is dog shit. Get rid of him. Let him coach. OC was okay, but not as impactful as he should be, in my opinion, for an AWPer. We've spoken enough about Liquid. I think we need to talk about the winners. Complexity. Are they the best team in the Americas right now?
Yeah.
They've got to be, right?
They look quality, they look good. They're actually exciting as well. Right?
They've actually looked good since Elige went. I do really rate JT. He had a pretty good tournament. He was on my fantasy team a few weeks back, I feel. But he's good. Floppy can show up now and again. We all know Grim can, Elige can.
Mate, since Elige joined, it's been
yeah, he's kind of pushed them over the edge.
Yeah.
I think Holzer's an okay AWPer. Whether they can do anything in Europe is another question, but they are probably the best team in the Americas right now. I can't see anyone getting close. If I was going to say anyone, it would have been Liquid, and they absolutely terrorized them. So, yeah, that was the Americas Blast Premier Fall showdown in a nutshell.
Okay.
But the more exciting one was the European one.
Yeah, which was won by Cloud9 in the end. They played big in the final. Notable people that didn't make it through would be Ents and G2. Ents lost to Big and G2 lost to Cloud9. But it's good to see Cloud9 getting some results.
So, Cloud9 actually changed their in-game leader for this tournament.
Yeah, interesting. Which I think... Go on.
Hello? I thought you cut out then. I thought your internet died again like last week.
No, go on. I'll try and let you talk more.
Yeah, I think that was a good sign. Hobbit is probably the lowest fragger on the team, the lowest rated.
So automatically, he must be IGL material.
Exactly. So it's like he's trying to prove his worth, and he's done well. He called some good games during this tournament, and Electronic could just focus on taking heads, and Electronic played better, and Cloud9 played better. But like I said the other week, let's give them time. I do think they need time. These guys could be really good.
Yeah.
I know I don't know. I think you're a little bit against these Russian teams, maybe.
No, not necessarily. I don't mind Cloud9. I think, no, don't try and tarnish me with any political pressure. Nah, I don't. I think actually
You're a hater.
The most exciting teams I'm looking forward to seeing more of is Spirit, which is all Russian and with young man Donk at the helm. So I am not. I think when there's a lot of hype around a team, I often like to fight. I like to go against it. Or if they're like built up, I prefer like an Ents or I don't know, Mouse, who almost feels like they've been like organically grown a bit more. When they do like these super teams, like Falcons went and bought everyone, I just automatically would root against them because it's way more fun when they lose. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah,
fun.
But I agree with you, but I kind of like for me, it's Cloud9 isn't like, oh, Cloud9 are going to wipe the floor with everybody.
But that's what everyone thought when they came together.
No, I don't think anybody thinks that. Like, I think Vitality are head and shoulders above everybody, and enter there or thereabouts. And to have Cloud9 potentially throwing a spanner in the works is exciting for me because the more teams that are really good, the better.
Okay. Well, look, let's see how it goes. The most the key thing here is all this stuff we've been talking about has been CS:GO, and now, yeah.
I would like to say, just a little shout out before Big kick off, because I don't know if you remember, Big did message us or tweet us or mention us or something a while back, and you've kind of forgot about that, and they've been playing really well recently, so I just want to give them a little shout out.
Well, they haven't messaged us recently, so fuck Big. No, that's actually not true. That's actually not true. I don't mean that, because I do rate Mantu a lot.
They've been playing really well recently.
Yeah, and Mantu's a fucking good player and often finds his way into my fantasy. Right, so that is the Blast stuff. The last CS:GO game's finished, thank God. Let's move on to CS2. So I was making dinner today, and I actually thought, I haven't watched any.
What did you make?
It was like a bassa fish with potatoes and stuff.
Oh, anyway, very nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I hadn't watched any. Have you watched any professional CS2 games yet?
No.
Anyway, I haven't either. So I put it on when I was making dinner. I caught 4 rounds of Spirit, who I just alluded to, against Movistar Riders in the ESL Challenger qualification things. And I watched the first map, which was Anubis, and interestingly, Movistar won the first couple of rounds, but I've just checked the score while we've been doing this, because I missed it after.
Yeah.
And Spirit beat them 13-6. Donk bottom fragging, strangely, and then they beat them in overpass 13-0. So Spirit just destroyed them, and Movistar as well looked really good recently at the Pro League, right? They had a good run at Pro League.
Yeah.
But Spirit have just demolished them. And interestingly, I'm super excited to see Spirit and how they're going to perform in CS2. But the thing that I noticed with CS2, it just looks sick on Pro Play, because obviously we've been so used to watching CSGO, and it looks really good. Like, it just felt really
I'm excited to watch it.
And it's cool. It's cool. So
especially some of these streams, like
the Blast ones, and
the Blast one seemed like when you're watching in HD, it looks so good.
This is going to look really good. It actually might be a bit too bright.
Well, yeah, I think everybody's kind of with you on that one.
But it's cool. One bit of Rostermania we didn't touch on, interestingly, was the TSM coach, Excutaz. The X Vitality guy who went to G2 and then to the new TSM roster. He's already left TSM pretty much before they've even fucking played a game. And the rumour is he's going back to Vitality to take Zonic's position. So, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I
feel like he's a pretty good coach as well. That's why
he's all right. He was good at. He
won. The Zonic thing's not too crazy, because there's other good coaches out there, especially this guy.
Yeah, never won a major, but he played at some majors and got some good wins. But hey, let's see.
So yeah. Who's just bringing it back to CS2? Do you think there's going to be a mix-up in CS2? Are Vitality still going to be the top team?
I can't see how they. I don't think they will with the Zonic stuff. I think that might just cause a few.
So you think it's the Zonic stuff and not the fact that it's going to be CS2?
Well, a bit of both, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say, Nick, because I haven't seen hardly anyone play CS2. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is interesting though, like how everyone's gonna kind of translate over, how good the teams are gonna be. Like the tier 2 team's gonna start taking over because maybe they've put more time into it. Is it just gonna be the same? Yeah. Are you gonna get the young teams like, a Mouse, or we all know that people like Monacy and Robs and stuff are kind of finding all these new little tricks. I'm really interested to see how the meta's going to be in CS2. Whether anyone's going to kind of utilize the smokes and the nades, and how people are going to try and mix things up a little bit. Is it is it going to change too much, or am I just talking nonsense and it's all just going to be the same?
No, I don't think you're talking nonsense, but I think it's just hard to predict anything, isn't it, at this stage until we see some real pro play. Interesting in that Spirit and Movistar Riders game, one of the Movistar Riders players found a pixel boost thing on Anubis, and the commentators, I missed it because I was cooking, but the commentators were like, oh, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen anyone find that. It was like completely out of the blue, like he'd found it and used it in the game. And they were like, that's surely going to get patched out by Valve next or something. So they were like, clip it, make sure you clip it and send it in. And he basically, like I tried to look for it after I finished eating dinner. I couldn't find it anywhere.
How do you feel on those types of boosts and whatnot? Do you think they're a little bit... Do you think teams should have kind of agreed to not use them?
Yeah.
Like, are clear defects in the game?
Well, I think the tournament organisers need to come together and decide whatever it is for all of them. So if Blast and ESL decide, because like what happens is ESL will say, well, you can't have that, you can't have that, you can have that, and then Blast will do their own ones. I think that's confusing. So they just need to come together and decide whatever it looks like or however it looks like. It just needs to be one rule for all the tournaments. So I don't know. It's far too professional for me, that, isn't it? I think the team forget what needs to throw on as well. Fucking Mirage, let alone remember Pixel Boost. Well, look, we're going to be able to see our first real CS2 action starting from Monday, because that's when IEM Sydney kicks off, the first CS2 LAN event. And guess what time the first game is? Monday, considering it's in Australia. Well, you'll know, you've spent time in Australia. I haven't. What would be a normal time for an Australian CS game to kick off, do you reckon?
Mate, you just cut out again then. Don't know what happened there.
Oh no.
Massive lag spike. Oh. You asked me what time I think the game's going to be in Sydney.
Yeah.
Oh, in the morning.
Yeah.
Early morning, yeah.
Very early morning, yeah. To watch them here, it's 1 a.m. of the first games.
And Jesus.
2:15.
When's this?
On Monday.
Okay, so that's not going to happen. I was going to say we might be up from the LAN.
No, yeah. It's a shame, isn't it? Because if they were like Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
First game's Navi Apex and Mouse Vertex. Who the F are Vertex? Anyway, probably the most notable games in the first rounds are probably the Vitality Bet Boom, which is the Zorti team, and Nafany. And FaZe Gamer Legion maybe, and Navi Apex, I don't know. Then the other games are like 3 a.m, 4 a.m. Let's have a look. Yeah, no one that interesting to watch, I think. The Navi Apex and the Vitality Bet Boom are probably the most interesting games. Be good to see how Bet Boom look, but
I'll definitely be watching some more though, because I want to get some tips on, what people are doing. I did actually watch a little bit on Banana Control on Inferno. I think maybe a video just popped up on YouTube or something, like talking about how the pro players are playing it, and it seemed very similar to how they play it now. There's deep smokes, deep mollies, just trying to take Banana Control. So it all seems very similar at the moment, and I think it will do for a while until you get some... I don't know, some of the top players that see things differently to everybody else and come up with some weird way of taking control of a certain area of the map. But yeah, I think it's exciting. I'll be watching anything when I get free time. I'll be watching some games and just seeing what everyone's up to.
All right, so let's just pull a name out the hat each. Then who's going to win IEM Sydney? The winner of Sydney gets $100,000 and a spot at IEM Cato 2024. So we don't know. This is CS2, so this is complete. This is a lottery, in my opinion. I mean, any ideas who you'd go with? You got Vitality, Ents, G2, Mouse, Navi, Monty, FaZe, Cloud9, Gamer Legion, Complexity, Fnatic, Apex. Any?
Just trying to Let's see if right, here it is. I think Navi have been playing really well recently. I don't think it's going to be Vitality. Like, usually my go-to is just like Vitality straight away. But with it being this, I want to say Mouse.
Okay, that's your team then. You're going Mouse. I'm going to go Cloud9 just because of what you said earlier, and it's a gamble. And now I might as well just support a Russian team.
Okay. What about Fnatic?
No, fuck Fnatic.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think they can do it. Well, I think it's just gonna be a random team. You know, to be honest.
Could be complexity, couldn't it? Anyway, I'm going
Well,
Cloud9. You're going Mouse. Those are our teams based on nothing. We can't be
how do you
judged
think
on this.
teams are gonna approach it? Do you think they're gonna be like, right, this is the first CS2 big tournament. We need to win this to put our names down in history.
No.
Or do you think they're just gonna be like, well, just a game?
I think they're just going to use it as a bit of a boot campy, like sussing things out, and I think they'll probably be using it as well to work out what other people are using initial strats or meta for CS2 in.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Or
definitely.
taking plays from other people and working out how they can improve it or use it differently. But yeah,
I mean, I'm trying to look who's gonna be the guys to look at tactical wise. I'm not too sure. Maybe Complexity might come up with some wacky stuff. G2 maybe, Mouse. Yeah, it should be interesting.
all right. Well, we look forward to not watching any of those games live because they're stupid o'clock.
Yeah,
there are some normal ones at like 9:30 a.m. Those are the later games. The latest games at 9:30 a.m.
Why are they doing it in Oz, man? There can't be that many fans over that part of the world.
Don't know. I know some teams just said no. But anyway. All right. Well, that will do us for episode 22 for this week. Thank you.
What content have we got coming out? Are we doing anything for the LAN or?
We'll do some LAN stuff we've got coming up. Another video that we're working on, or keep saying we're going to work on. It's just finding the time.
Yeah.
Both very busy.
We'll try and get some more content out there. But if you don't follow us on the socials, maybe hop over because we're doing a LAN at your house this weekend, and that's going to be pretty sick. So we might post some stuff about it there.
Yeah, we definitely will. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in as always. GG's. See you next week.